Now, before we get into this video, I just want to thank you all for 1,000 subscribers. By tomorrow, I probably won't have 1,000 subscribers, so yeah, don't really get mad if people unsubscribe, but at the same time, I want to thank you guys for the 1,000 subscribers, and let's get into the video. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Vic here, back with another Madden 21 video, but in today's episode, we're going to be playing some fantasy bingo, and we're going to do a fantasy draft, simulate it, and play some fantasy bingo. And as you can see, I'm throwing up a bingo sheet right now on the screen. I did get this from a comment, so I'm going to throw his comment up on the screen right now. Shout out to him. I will randomly be selecting one of these rows in a number generator. That's what the numbers are for. And I'll throw up on the screen which one I got, which row I have to make bingo in. This will all make sense by the end of the video, and I will show you guys the rules real quick, but I just have to follow that bingo sheet, and it's very, very hard challenges. He did give me his own bingo sheet, but I decided to go off my own because I lost his. But anyways, guys, let's get into the draft. Now, one of our things on our bingo sheet said we had to get at least two Bills players. So my first two big picks are going to be Bills players. They're not going to be studs, standout players. Sadly, they're not going to be standout players. I'm looking for Stefon Diggs here, if he is here, and it doesn't look like he's here, which is very, very surprising. I wouldn't really think he'd be in the first round to go, but it does look like that he is the first, one of the first receivers to go. I don't know if I'm blind. I probably passed him multiple times. You guys are probably yelling at me in the comments, but it looks like DeAndre Hopkins didn't leave the board, but Stefon Diggs did. I feel like an absolute idiot. I can't find them. So it looks like we're going to have to go with some different players, and I will get to those players right now as we are drafting free safety Micah Hyde, 88 overall superstar development. And he's not really the best to pick in the first round, but we got him. Next, we were picking up a middle linebacker, 80 overall, star development, Tremaine Edmonds. And those are our Bills players, so I'm going to have to simulate the rest of the draft because it is supposed to be fantasy-style simulated franchise bingo. So I'm going to hit right here and end draft, and that will simulate the team. And this is what the team looks like after the simulated draft. As we have Ryan Fitzmagic, and our second string is Tua Tagovailoa, and I'm going to start him. And we have John Brown and Devin Singletary, who are both Bills players as well, so that was convenient, I guess. And we also have Jerry Jeudy, which is another great player, so I'm going to put him at starter over John Brown. And also, I forgot to turn tips off, so if you guys see these random tips, don't worry about that. John Brown is 30 years old, though, so he will regress. We did get Rob Gronkowski, an overall okay offensive line. Defensively, D-line is kind of bad, but linebacking core is pretty good with Roquan Smith, Micah Hyde, Clinton Dix, Kendall Fuller, and Richard Sherman. Dang it. Another thing that was on our bingo sheet was that we cannot have X Factor or superstar development plus defensive back. So I'm going to add him to the trade block, and we will see what we can get for Richard Sherman. So here we are in week 2, here to trade Richard Sherman. And I know you guys are already probably screaming at me. I noticed on the bingo sheet that I can't make any trades in the first season, so I'm going to end up having to cut Richard Sherman in the first season after we just fantasy simulated drafted him, whatever you want to call it. But we have to cut Richard Sherman because we can't have X Factor or superstar development defensive backs, and we can't trade people in the first season. So that sucks. That's pretty hard on us. Richard Sherman is in free agency, but I want to see if there's anyone else in free agency. And also, there's a storm going on outside my house. I live in Florida. Happens. And also, the Texans and Bills game, not Texans and Bills, Texans and Chiefs game, the first game of the NFL season is playing right now. So let me know in the comments who you guys were going for. I'm going for the Chiefs to see Patty Mahomes, but there's no one here in free agency that I do have an interest in. So apart from that, guys, I would say that it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, as we are 4-3 at the midseason mark, third in the division behind the Indianapolis Colts. We have players to re-sign here, but in fantasy draft, usually players get 4-year contracts, so I don't really think there's anyone that you really need to re-sign, no big contracts. Cap room isn't really that big of a deal in fantasy rebuilds, but we submitted a contract he didn't accept. There's no one here that I really want. Yeah, I don't really have an interest for anyone there. So, yeah, apart from that, let's get into some Coach XP. And expert scouting works for me. And apart from that, guys, it is time to get into the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Houston Texans, as we are here to face the Indianapolis Colts in the wild card round. And we are 10-6, and the Houston Texans are 9-7. So the Houston Texans game determined whether or not we would make the playoffs, and we won. As Ryan Fitzmagic was apparently our starter, even though I made it clear that Tua Tagovailoa was supposed to be our starter. And Raheem Mostert with 3 touchdowns, but Devin Singletary with 20 touchdowns. Okay, Madden. Logic. I don't think there is any, but I guess what an animal Devin Singletary is. Jerry Jeudy, almost 1,000 yards, 5 TDs. Defensively, Roquan Smith with 120 tackles for a loss, 14 for John Simon. I don't even know who that is. Sacks, 10 for John Simon. What a beast. Interceptions, 4 for Kendall Fuller. And safeties is 1 for John Simon, and defensive touchdowns is 0. John Simon, I don't know who you are, but an absolute animal you must be. But apart from that, guys, we're going to simulate this first round to see what we can do in the divisional round if we move on from the wild card round. Can we do it? We can, beating the Indianapolis Colts 30-17 or 20-17, whatever. And we are here to face the Cincinnati Bengals to move on to the AFC Championship. Can we do it? We can, winning 35-7, as we did lose to them in the midseason mark, so that was very interesting. And we are here to face the Los Angeles Chargers, and this will be a big game. So I'm actually going to start Tua Tagovailoa, taking out Ryan Fitzmagic, and watch us lose because I take out Ryan Fitzmagic. That'd be so Fitz-tragic. Get it? Because he's Fitz. Okay, yeah, I know I suck at puns, but it's okay, guys, because this team is stacked, and Jerry Jeudy has superstar development, which is very cool. And everyone else on this team looks the same, of course, because it's not even the Super Bowl week. I don't even know why I'm looking at the team. But apart from that, guys, I'm going to spend some Coach XP, a little bit more on Tua Tagovailoa or in weekly player XP. So I don't need anything else. And it's time to get into this matchup with the 12-4 Los Angeles Chargers. I like their new symbol. It's a little bit cooler. But here we are in the third quarter, as it is 38-10, pounding on the Los Angeles Chargers, and it is just a massacre. 38-17 in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes left. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything about it as time runs out. 38-17, as your Tennessee Titans in Fantasy Bingo will move on to the Super Bowl in the first season. Now, a lot of you guys may be saying this isn't really a challenge, but I honestly think in the first season. I don't think we're going to be able to do this in the next seasons or anything like that. But Tua Tagovailoa, you still don't know his development because he was benched the entire year. But defensively, John Simon does get a dev up, which is not surprising to me, and so does Micah Hyde. Now, everyone here, before you say Micah Hyde counts as a defensive back and he can't have superstar development or can't have superstar X factor, he is a safety. That's how I'm going to consider him for this rebuild. I said defensive backs. I did not say safeties. So do not say he is a defensive back and start raging at me in the comments. He is not one, okay? That's just how it is. And we are getting some things out of the way on the bingo chart. But apart from that, guys, I would say that it is time to get into the Super Bowl matchup with the Cardinals, as they have Lamar Jackson, Von Miller, and Kenny Clark. Wow, I'm not surprised by them being here. And the stacked Cardinals are up 17-15 against the Tennessee Titans Fantasy Bingo team. 24-15 against the Titans, entering the fourth quarter, as it is now still 24-15. In the fourth quarter, 3 minutes left, 27-15, and now 22-27. Can we come out on top? 22-30. Will we score that touchdown? I'm going to jump in here because it is fourth down alert to see what we can do with this team. And I'm going to go always, as you already know, 3 tight ends. That's my favorite because they just bully people. And we have Rob Gronkowski, so his cuts are probably better. So I'm going to move to tight end attack, block the halfback, and his cut should probably be very good. There it is. That should be a first down. Rob Gronkowski, first down. And now we are in striking range. And let's see what we can do with this, as Tua Tagovailoa hasn't had a good game. But it is 28-30, and I accidentally misclicked. I meant to hit onside kick, but we have enough timeouts to probably stop them on defense and get a punt return. So I'm just going to kick this away. Why not? I doubt we would have got the onside kick anyway, so I don't want to hear you guys cry about it in the comments. And can we do it? Oh, better field position with this punt. Never mind. Okay. That's going to be your game as we lose 28-30 against the Arizona Cardinals, and the Arizona Cardinals take home their first Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, and that will be your ball game as the Tennessee Titans lose in the first season. And your Super Bowl MVP is Lamar Jackson, 301 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions, 66.7 completion rate. And that will be it for this Super Bowl, as we have still 3 more seasons to go, so stay tuned for that. Now we are in the offseason as the Arizona Cardinals win Super Bowl 54 when it should be Super Bowl 55. Yes, I am going to complain about this in every rebuild, but we have players to resign, but they obviously don't matter that much. Sure, I'll give this receiver a new contract, and everyone else here I don't really have an interest for. Maybe this defensive back for more depth. Why not? He's young. We don't really need to worry about cap because there's going to be nobody in free agency. That's just how fantasy draft works. You just sign players to 4-year deals and they're just kind of stuck with you for that long. So apart from that, guys, it is time to get into free agency. And like I said before, I don't really want anyone here in free agency. Richard Sherman we're not allowed to pick up throughout the entire rebuild, so that sucks for us. And apart from that, guys, I would say that it is time to get into the draft. And here we are in the draft as we are picking up a center. And 75 overall normal development, not that bad. Probably going to move him to guard. Next, we're picking up a right outside linebacker in the second round. 74 overall, hidden development. Great player, great pick as well. And this is what the team looks like after the draft, as the O-line has improved. And I moved the center to left guard as he is a 77 overall right now. And the O-line has improved. And defensively, linebacker has improved with our new right outside linebacker pick. And everything else here on the defense does look pretty good to me. So apart from that, guys, it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a bye week, and we're here to face the 0-5-2 San Francisco 49ers, as we are 1-6 at the bottom of the division. Quite the fall down from going from a Super Bowl contender to a 1-6 team, but we are here to sign Greg the Leg, 80 overall superstar development, and he re-signs. And Nate Davis, I do want him back, 75 overall, not the worst. But he wants more money. We'll probably give it to him at the end of the season. And everybody else here I don't really have an interest for. Bobby Evans Jr., I actually want to go back to that real quick. That right tackle that we had, I do want to re-sign him, but I can't negotiate till week 13. So I'll re-sign him at the end of the season. But apart from that, guys, it is time to get to the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, not making the playoffs, coming off a loss to the Indianapolis Colts, as we finish 5-11. Not a great season at all. Tua Tagovailoa's first start had pretty good passing yards, terrible in touchdowns, 17th best offense, 30th best defense. Devin Singletary not great. Tua Tagovailoa great in yards, terrible in touchdowns, and interceptions are 9. Devin Singletary overall solid season, not great, not bad either. Jerry Jeudy over 1,000 yards and only 3 touchdowns. Blocking wise, I'm not even going to look at it. Defensive wise, Roquan Smith with the most tackles on the team. Most tackles for a loss goes to 14 for John Simon. Most sacks, 10 for John Simon. Most interceptions is 2 for Roquan Smith. Very lackluster in interceptions. Safeties is 1 for Steve McLendon or whatever. But John Simon seems to be a stud. So apart from that, guys, I would say that it is time to get into the offseason. And here we are in the offseason as the Cincinnati Bengals win Super Bowl 55, when it should be Super Bowl 56, against the New York Giants, as we have players to resign such as Nate Davis, the right guard, 75 overall, normal development, and he resigns. And I did want that right tackle that we had earlier in the season, 69 overall, nice. Normal development as he re-signs for 1 year. But apart from that, guys, everyone else here I don't really have an interest for. And it is time to look into the team to see if there's any development upgrades, which I would be pretty excited to see. And from what I can see, nothing is new on the offense. John Brown has regressed heavily. John Simon is an absolute animal with superstar development, and he did get that, as you can see from the progression history. And Sherrod Terry, our right outside linebacker, did get superstar development, so I guess he was a star player before. And Roquan Smith did get an upgrade as well with the abilities Tip Drill and Stonewall. So those are both very interesting abilities that I don't really know other than Tip Drill. So apart from that, I would say that it's time to get in free agency. And just like last year in free agency, there's nobody here that I have interest for. So we're going to be skipping to the draft like we always do, work out some fifth-year options, but that's about it. So apart from that, it is time to get into the draft. And here we are in the draft as we are picking up a wide receiver, Montrell Carson, 74 overall, normal development. Yes, I picked him up at number 4. He is a bust. Next, we are picking up a defensive back, Tevin Modell. I feel like an idiot for pronouncing his name. 77 overall. Next, we're picking up another defensive back, 74 overall, normal development. Picked him up in the second round, so very worthwhile. And this is what the team looks like after the draft, as our number 2 receiver is the bust receiver that we had. And I know it's early to call him a bust, but I don't think he's going to get a development upgrade. And we have our number 2 defensive back there too. But overall, the defense looks pretty good. So apart from that, guys, it is time to get into the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a win to the Dallas Cowboys, as we are here to play the Los Angeles Chargers, as we are 4-3 and they are 5-2, and we are second in the division below the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have players to re-sign, such as Tress Way, the punter, 88 overall star development. I'm going to give him a kind of a big deal for a punter, I guess. And he resigns. Raheem Mostert is here, and I guess why not resign him? Don't really care whether or not he's here. And he resigns. Money isn't really an issue for this fantasy bingo thing, and I know I've kind of drifted away from the bingo thing, but overall I gotta just follow these certain set of rules throughout the rebuild, and it is hard to go through the first season without trades, and it is hard to let go of Richard Sherman like that whenever we could have kept him, and we couldn't even trade him away. And I had to have 2 Bills players, which isn't a bad thing considering that Micah Hyde is pretty good. But yeah, I did have to go out of my way and use my first picks on them, even though I shouldn't have. But overall, not the hardest rebuild. I feel like that was probably one of the easiest lines I could have got, but that wasn't the easiest line. Again, I did do a number generator online. I didn't show it on camera, but either way, I did do it, so I hope you guys believe me on that. And apart from that, there's no one else here that I want other than Ryan Fitzmagic. Of course, we got to re-sign Fitzmagic no matter how old he is. But apart from that, guys, it is time to get into the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, not making the playoffs once again, coming off a loss to the Washington football team. Ugh, terrible name. But third best team in the division, not very good at all. Tua, not having the year that I want him to. 29th best offense, 23rd best defense. Just terrible team overall. I don't know how we went from Super Bowl contenders to just god-awful team. Doesn't really make sense. Kind of sounds like the Eagles, though Eagles didn't become a god-awful team. They became an average team. Jerry Jeudy over 1,000 yards, 6 TDs, and defensive-wise, Roquan Smith with the most tackles on the team. Tackles for a loss, 16 for John Simon and 10 sacks for John Simon. That's the 3rd year in a row John Simon has had 10 sacks. John Simon is an animal. Roquan Smith with 5 interceptions. Safeties is 0 and defensive touchdowns is 0. John Simon equals animal. Hashtag John Simon. What a beast. Let's get into the offseason. And now in the offseason, as the Washington football team beats the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl to win it. Okay, very interesting. There's no one here that I want except Ryan Fitzmagic, 63 overall, normal development. I don't care his age. Ryan Fitzmagic, the beard needs to come back to the Tennessee Titans for this fantasy bingo. And if you guys are wondering why I picked the Tennessee Titans as the team, it doesn't really matter because it's just a randomly generated team, so it doesn't really matter that much to you guys or to me. But apart from that, we're looking into the team, and Jerry Jeudy does have superstar X Factor, 91 overall with ankle breaker, short in elite, and reach for it. Reach for it's a very good ability, actually. And everyone else doesn't really seem to have an upgrade other than John Simon, the beast, 79 overall X Factor with relentless and secure tackler. He's 32 years old, as he did get a Superstar X Factor dev, and Roquan Smith now has Superstar X Factor with shutdown, tip drill, and stonewall. So this defense has progressed well. Offense has not done anything really. But apart from that, guys, I would say that it is time to get into some free agency. And finally, I say we have some free agents, as we picked up Jalen Reagor and we picked up a new superstar receiver. I didn't even have time to read that. Whatever, it's fine. But overall, the receivers are stacked, and it is time to get into the draft. Now, here we are in the draft as we are trading away a first, a second, and a 6th round pick away to get Fletcher Cox, and that will be a key part to our defense. And this is what the team looks like after the draft, as I did trade away my picks to get Fletcher Cox. And I know it's unrealistic to trade for big players like that, but this is fantasy bingo. This is a fantasy style. Everything in this is unrealistic, but Fletcher Cox will be a huge part of our pass rush with John Simon, the elite man, going from normal dev to superstar X Factor. But apart from that, it is time to get to the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a loss to the Indianapolis Colts, and we are 2-5-1, third in the division below the Houston Texans, sadly. I don't think we're going to do too much this year, but Devin Singletary, all these other players I don't need to re-sign because it is the final season. Just like every final season, I don't re-sign anybody. So apart from that, guys, I would say that it is time to get to the playoffs. And here we are in the playoffs, actually making the playoffs, the wild card, as we were 10-5-1, going on a complete winning streak to take second in the division as the Jaguars win the division, as Tua Tagovailoa was pretty good in touchdowns, but not so great in yards. 21st best offense and 5th best defense is what I like to see. Tua Tagovailoa, 3,800 yards, 36 TDs, and 15 interceptions. Rushing wise, Devin Singletary over 1,100 yards and 3 TDs. Jerry Jeudy over 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns. That's insane. And defensive wise, Roquan Smith, once again with the most tackles on team, most tackles for a loss, goes to who else other than John Simon? And John Simon with 16 sacks. John Simon is the most elite player ever. Interceptions, 3 for Kendall Fuller, and safeties is 0. And defensive touchdowns is 0. So apart from that, guys, I'm going to simulate this wildcard round. And if we win, I'm going to simulate the divisional round too. You never know. Can we beat the New England Patriots to move on to the divisional round? We can. Here to face the 10-6 Los Angeles Chargers, as we did beat them in the first season. Can we do it again in our final season? We cannot. Losing to the Los Angeles Chargers, and that will do it for this rebuild. So, did we complete bingo? Yes, we have achieved bingo. But did we win the Super Bowl? No, we did not. So in my book, we did not achieve bingo. I did fail at this bingo rebuild. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I know I did. Shout out to that comment once again for giving me that idea. He also gave me another idea, which I will throw up on the screen right about now. And that dude was a freaking legend. I will be doing more of his rebuilds. Comment down below your style of rebuild you want to do. But apart from that, guys, I would say it is time to see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.